I'm just sitting here watching some boxing clips, and my son earlier was asking me questions about boxing. And I was just telling him that boxing requires a strong mind, mental fortitude, like no other sport. Take for instance, long distance runners. If you told them to put a pair of gloves on and to hit a bag for 1 minute, they would really struggle to finish that minute off. It's just a different level of fitness, but it's also to do with mental fortitude. Another thing is fighters that can throw 1,000 punches a fight. It's not that they're fitter than a fighter that can throw 50 punches around. The problem is that the fighter that can throw 1,000 punches, they can keep their heart rates lower. But even if you take that person that can throw 1,000 punches a fight, if you put them in there with a big puncher and they get clipped and they feel hurt and they know they can't afford to get clipped again, you watch how quickly that his gas tank will start to drop. People will start to say, oh, he didn't look the same. Obviously, you're not going to look the same because you can't operate the same way, because you know mentally you can't afford to get hit with the same type of punches. Look at that knockout. Now the key to this is doing two things at once in a fight. Now my son, earlier, I told him to count to 10. So he counted 10, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. But what I would do is I would put numbers in between as he's counting to try and confuse him. And it confused him. And that is the key to boxing. If you can do two things at once, if you can give him two different looks, if you at least two different looks, and when I say looks is give him something to think about, give him different positions, because how much more is a fighter going to cope when you give him two different things? Like for instance, when I'm holding the pads for a fighter, when that fighter's finished and I take another fighter on the pads, I've got to get used to his timing. So for the first 10 to 15 seconds, I'm struggling. And I'm not even under pressure. It's just my mind is getting used to doing the one thing. So if you're going to do, if you're going to show two different things, different rhythms, different body positions, stuff like that, that is the key. So the key to success in boxing is low heart rate and giving a fighter two different looks at least, because the mind can't do two things at once when it's under mental stress. No other sport requires mental stress like boxing.